It took Angus Duquette 3 weeks to travel across the country by train, hopping from rail line to rail line. Like Thaddeus Wilcox, he was impelled by a force from an unknown dimension to get to the Mojave Desert. But still, he could not resist his nature as a notorious serial killer, the clown with no paint on his face. Instead of speeding his way west, Angus took his time, changed his appearance, shaving his beard, cutting his hair, donning a top hat, and delighted in his own warped sense of hijinks, playing sadistic tricks on anyone and everyone he could. Some conductors reported a strange figure advancing towards their train, riding atop an old handcar, engaged in what could only be described in modern times as a nightmarish game of chicken. Passengers on the commercial rail lines frequently complained of a man who would come into their sleeping cars at night and watch them as they lay in their cots. But many of the warnings went unheeded and were largely dismissed. On the morning of February 19th, Loretta Beauregard left the Abilene Union Pacific Passenger Depot in Missouri for her long trek home on foot. Loretta didn't realize that she was being followed. Angus waited for the perfect moment to strike. He viciously assaulted her, leaving her for dead on the tracks. She would have died a brutal death that day had one of the rail crew not seen her and made a daring rescue at the last possible second. Angus was having fun making these frequent detours and pit stops. One could argue too much fun, that he had lost the momentum. The last train Angus hopped was perhaps the most serendipitous, however. It was a traveling carnival. On board here, he met Gunterson the Enigmatic, a wizened psychic who immediately recognized darkness in Angus. Having encountered many a broken soul at the carnival, Gunterson tried his best to draw Angus to the light. He convinced Angus to help the carnival set up on the fairgrounds in the small town of Last Chance, Colorado. Angus stayed on, working for Gunterson the Enigmatic, viewing him as the father he never had. He then developed a romance with a magician's assistant, and for a time, actually began having second thoughts about leaving. Perhaps his mission to Silent Creek would have been permanently derailed were it not for a fateful night when Angus peered into Guntherson's crystal ball. That's when he caught his first glimpse of the Erendu, and the interdimensional power that was awaiting him to unlock if he kept heading west. Seeing this vision resurrected the darkness inside him. It made him angry with himself for wasting all this time with senseless detours. The clown with no paint on his face strangled Gunterson the Enigmatic. When he stepped out from the tent, Angus was no longer a trickster, but a full-blown monster. Angus would murder the entire band of carnival workers in their sleep, this number totaling 157 souls. He then released the lions from their cages. From this point onward, he decided he had had enough with trains. Angus was determined to walk the rest of the way to Silent Creek.